We're now going to move into our general child and youth prevention procedures. In a later video, we'll be looking specifically at children prevention procedures and youth prevention procedures that are specific to children or youth. The ones we're covering in this video would pertain to both children and youth ministries. Our children to ministry personnel ratios are based on the age of the children. And so, for example, for our infants and toddlers, so that's birth to age 3, our ratio is 1 ministry personnel to every 4 infants or toddlers, or two youth assistants for every 8 infants and toddlers. For our preschoolers, which are ages 3 to 4, our ratio is 1 ministry personnel to every 6 preschoolers. With elementary school, which is grade 1 to grade 8, or age 4 to grade 8, we have 1 ministry personnel to every 10 elementary school children as our ratio. And for our high school students, which is grade 9 and up, our ratio is 1 ministry personnel to every 14 high school students. Now, for off-site events, and we'll talk about what off-site events mean in a little bit later. But for off-site events, that ratio is cut in half. We would ask that as volunteers, as ministry personnel at Chalmers Community Church, that you would create a two-way communication between the parents or guardians and yourselves. We at Chalmers believe that family is incredibly important, and that we need to be working as a team, as parents and as ministry personnel and as pastors, to be caring for our children well. And so we would ask that at every time that you have a child dropped off to your program, that you would just take a minute or two and chat with the parents. See if there is anything that is new, any updated information that you need to be aware of. This is a great opportunity to get to know what are the parents like, what are the children like. It's also a great way for the parents to voice any concerns or any questions that they have about the ministry. One of the biggest procedures and policies that we have here at Chalmers is that ministry personnel should never be alone with a child. As a ministry personnel, you should never be alone with a child, especially not in a private place. At the beginning of our plan to protect, we said that we wanted to protect both our children as well as our ministry personnel. And this policy is absolutely vital to protecting both the children as well as yourself. And so at Chalmers, we have an open door policy where all of our Sunday school classes or classrooms either have open doors or windows throughout. Now we understand that there may be times that as a ministry personnel, depending on how you're relating to a child, there may need to be a moment where you need to have a private conversation with them. At those times, we would ask that you would find a public place to have a private conversation. And so, for example, if you're needing to talk with someone at the church, one option is that you could go out into the parking lot and talk to them in the parking lot. Again, as a place where anyone can come up to you, anyone could see you. It's not a private place, but you can still have a private conversation there. Another place would be in a hallway, but not in a closed-doored room. For those of you who will be doing mentoring or discipleship with young adult or young youth or our senior youth program, we would ask that you would Choose mentoring opportunities, again, in public places, whether that's going for a walk along the street, whether that is going to a coffee shop or a restaurant and having those conversations there. Now, if for some reason you have to be alone with the child, I'm thinking specifically about transportation. If you've been driving youth to an event, and now you have to you'll only have one child left at the end, what you need to do is you need to have contacted that child's parents beforehand and arranged that be the possibility, or arrange for those parents to pick that child up at another location where you can still have multiple children in your vehicle. And so if you need to drive a child home on their own, you need to make sure that their parents, as well as themselves, are okay with that. Now, if in an emergency situation you need to drive a child or youth somewhere, or you need to be alone with a child or youth, and you cannot get a hold of the parents, then immediately after this situation occurs, you need to contact one of the pastoral staff. Especially, I would suggest the lead pastor, just to let them know about this. Speaking of transportation, there are times that you may be asked to drive children or youth to a certain event. At Chalmers, we would ask that all of our ministry personnel, all of our volunteer drivers, be, first of all, pre-approved by the ministry team leader, whether that is the student and family, the director of student and family ministries, or another ministry team leader. As a volunteer driver, we would ask that you would give us a copy of your valid driver's license, as well as a copy of your current automobile insurance. And we would also ask that you would have 3 years of driving experience in good standing. And 3 years of driving experience starts with your G2. Let's talk for a second about discipline and classroom management. At Chalmers Community Church, the following things are not permitted: corporal punishment of a child by any ministry personnel. And we need to be clear here. If you are a parent and your child, and you are serving as a ministry personnel, and your child misbehaves, you also are not allowed to discipline your child through corporal punishment while you are a ministry personnel, while you are on as a ministry personnel. There are many different viewpoints of corporal punishment, but we would ask that while you are serving at Chalmers Community Church for that Sunday, if your child misbehaves, please follow our discipline guidelines. So corporal punishment: deliberate, harsh, or degrading measures that would humiliate a child or undermine a child's self-respect. Deprivation of a child's basic needs, in other words, not allowing them to use the washroom. Locking or confining a child in a room that's separate from other children or adults. These things are not permitted at Chalmers. As I've already stated, here at Chalmers Community Church, we want to make sure that our children and youth find this place a safe environment. We want to create a safe environment where our children and youth can flourish and grow in their faith of Jesus Christ. And if those forms of discipline or classroom management are not allowed, then what is allowed? Well, first of all, we would want to say that at Chalmers we want to be preventing discipline. We want to be creating a safe and caring environment where children can flourish and where discipline is not as necessary. Not that children won't act out, But if we can create an environment where they are engaged, where they are excited to be here, the classroom management will take care of itself. And so we want to invite you to create a loving, caring atmosphere, to gain the respect of the children by giving them respect as well, to model self-discipline and structure in your own life, to prepare exciting and interesting activities with short transitions in between. It's always the transitions where you lose control of the classrooms. Arrange your environment for children and for learning. Make sure that the table or the room is set up in a way that is engaging and fun. Establish and communicate realistic expectations for the children. Be sure that the activities that you provide are meaningful and also age appropriate. Be fair and consistent with all the children. And be sure that you focus on positive behavior and that you reward positive behavior. And if there are special needs that are necessary within your classrooms, or if there are behaviors that need to be dealt with and you're not sure how, please make sure to talk to your ministry team leader. Now, if there is a need to discipline a child, we want to make sure that every effort is made to deal with them individually, to deal with the problem individually, rather than call the child a bad child or that the child's not listening. Deal with the individual problem. We also want to make sure that every effort is made to explain to the child why the behavior is inappropriate and how they can change their behavior to appropriate behavior. We want to redirect children to positive action. And we want to explain that there are consequences to unacceptable behavior, and we want to show them what the correct way to behave will look like.